occasionally I do these little sort of editorials where I just talk about things that have been bothering me or that I haven't had a chance to kind of talk about on my channel. And this week I had something that was just bugging me. And it's something that has bothered me for a while. And we often get this complaint about movies that, oh, they're so unoriginal. It's just like what movie? And you recently saw it. I did not see this movie yet, but you recently saw it with Life. That, oh, it's just a retread of Alien, or it's just borrowing from Alien. And I get where the sort of kernel of this complaint is coming from, when we feel like we aren't getting anything that is new and fresh from the movies. But I think that there's a big flaw in this argument. First of all, I think that movies are no different from any other medium in this regard. I try to be a pretty prolific reader, and I can tell you that the number of books that I have read where I've walked away being like, wow, that was the most original book I have ever read. That was so different than any other book. There's like 3 in all of the books I've read in my life, like something like The Book Thief, or which was just so different and so creative and so great. It's out as this incredible book. And a lot of times those books have a hard time transitioning into movies like The Book Thief did. Even though it was a competent film, it just wasn't as great as the book. And so the thing is that occasionally there's books that just rattle the whole publishing industry, like Catcher in the Rye did. It's not my favorite book, but it was incredibly influential in the way people wrote, and it was something new and different that people loved. And so you occasionally have these books, but 99% of books are following a certain formula that works. Read Murder on the Orient Express. Is that original? No, it's not. Why do people like it for all of these years? It's practically, I think, 100 years old. Why? Because it has great characters and the dialogue is really good. And so it doesn't matter that the story isn't that original. It matters that it's executed really well. And it's the same thing with movies. What I think people are really saying when they say something isn't original and feels tired, feels worn out, is that the writing and the story and the characters didn't grasp you, didn't work for you. Because when a movie comes out that does heavily borrow from other material, pay homage to other material, and you love the movie, it doesn't matter that it's done those things. Like everybody loves The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight borrows heavily from many films, including Heat and the original Batman film and many, many other films. And that's not a problem, like if the movie is well executed. One of the greatest films ever made isn't all that original with Citizen Kane. The story is fairly a standard kind of biopic type story, even though it's not technically based on William Randolph Hearst. It basically follows that sort of rise and fall of a great person kind of narrative. Why do we like it? Because it's super well made, it's super well acted, it's super well done, it's executed well. And something like Star Wars pays heavy homage to many, many, many properties that had come before it, including Dune, including the serials of the 1940s and 50s, and it is executed really well with characters that we like, and so most of us don't care. Same thing can be said for Indiana Jones. We love those first 3 movies. We love at least 2 of the movies, at least me, but we like the first 3 movies pretty good. I think most people do. And so those 3 movies are not that original, but they're executed really well, and they have action that we like, and they have stories that we like, and characters that we like. And so it doesn't matter that it's not original, because it's executed well. What do we think about the 4th one? The 4th one also isn't that original. The 4th one is based on 1950s Alien films. We hate it. Why do we hate it? Not because it's not original. It it doesn't execute it well. The special effects aren't that great. The dialogue isn't that great. The chemistry isn't that great. The case that he's sort of looking into, the things, it gets very silly. You know, he's surviving an atomic explosion in a fridge. It's not executed well. It's interesting for me that you can take a lot of movies that most people really hate, and a lot of them are super original. That you have, let's say, Jupiter Ascending. Most people hated that movie. I found some value in it. It was just so creative and different. And most people hated it though. And it's very original. It's very original world building. It's very original characters. I've never seen another movie with a character sounding the way the Eddie Redmayne character sounds. What do we think about it? We hate it. You know, another recent example is a lot of people hated Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland is very original, and it's tried different things. I didn't think it was a perfect movie. I gave it a C+, but because I didn't think it was executed that well. And so it doesn't really matter to me whether you're original or whether you are not original. It matters to me how you execute the material. Do you write compelling characters? Do you write dialogue that I like? Do you have a story that works within that formula in a compelling way that maybe adds something new to the formula that I like? You know, one of my favorite authors ever is Nora Ephron, and her movies are not original at all. In fact, You've Got Mail, one of her best movies, is a remake of another movie. But she brought something new to the table by talking about work, how we identify ourselves with our jobs. And so to me, it created compelling characters that I like. And it's something I can continue to go back to. If you really want more original properties, then why are you spending $170 million in one weekend on a remake of an original Disney classic of Beauty and the Beast, which technically isn't really that original to begin with, but because there was lots of versions of Beauty and the Beast before it. But at least it had original songs and had original things in it. So you can't complain about Hollywood not making original films, original things, and not go to at least give a fighting chance to when a director, like I bet this summer, I bet hardly anybody will go see Valerian, and that is Luc Besson putting out a totally original sci-fi, you know, kind of world and story. It is based on a book, but it's not a franchise, and I bet hardly anyone will see it, and we'll see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but you hear this complaint all the time about the Marvel movies. Oh, they're all the same. There's a formula. Marvel executes that formula darn well. I'm sorry, they do. And so if it's not your cup of tea, that's fine, but don't pretend the problem is the formula. The problem is it doesn't execute it well for you, and that's okay. And so I don't know. I'm just so sick of hearing that about this originality argument. That's what I wanted to say. It doesn't matter to me whether something borrows heavily from other movies. It matters to me whether it executes that material well. So let me know what you think. Put it in the comment section, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.